All right, testing. All right, we're recording. All right, section 311, the Love Canal property acquisition. Acquisition property merger declaration area of the environmental protection agency here and after referred to as administrator make the grants that not exceed the 2.5 million state of New York annual due constructed public agency and thereof the purpose of the acquisition of private property with the Love Canal Emergency Declaration Act. So for the acquisition included but not limited to all private property with the Emergency Declaration Act, including owner-occupied residential property, commercial and industrial, publicly religious, non-property, vacant properties. Procedure for the acquisition: known property shall be acquired pursuant to the section unless the property owner of the volunteer agrees to such acquisition. Composition of the property for the acquisition acquired pursuant to the section shall not be based on the fair market value of the property as fixed prior to the emergency declaration valuation. Procedure for the property acquired with the funds then provided under the section being in accordance with the set forth and the agreement entered in the national state New York State Disaster Preparedness Commission level of cattle and revitalization agency October 9, 1980. State ownership administrator shall not provide any fund to the owner section acquisition any of the properties pursuant to the section unless the public agency authority of the state of New York first entered the cooperative agreement with the administrator provided the insurance of deemed adequate by the administrator of the state and agency created under the law of the state that shall be title of the property so be acquired. Maintenance of the property administrator shall enter the cooperative agreement with the appropriate public of the agency authorities of New York under to the administrator shall maintain the arrangement of maintenance of all of the property of the emergency declaration after they have been acquired with the public agency authority of the state. 90% of the cost of the trust maintenance shall be made with the administrator. The remaining portion of the trust cost shall be paid with the state unless the credit is available to section 104C. The administrator is authorized with the discretion to provide technical assistance of the public agency authority of the state of New York in order to implement the recommendation and have the ability to land use of the in order to put land with the emergency Declaration Act of the best use. Habitatively landed use of the administrators to conduct the conducted habitatively land use of the shall accept the risk associated with the inhabiting local canal emergency declaration. I compare the level of hazard waste contamination area with the present with the other comparable communities. The excess of the potential use of land within the Emergency Declaration Act, including but not limited to residential, industrial, commercial, recreational risk associated with such potential use. Administration shall publish the findings of the study. The shore shall work with the state of New York to develop the recommendation based on the stuff of the result of the such studies. Funding for purposes of 111 and 221Z with the exact expenditures authorized in section shall be the cost specified in 111 and 111C. Response of section shall not affect the implementation of the response action of the Emergency Declaration Act of the Ministry that have determined to become for enactment of this section be necessary to protect the public health and welfare of the environment. Definition of the purpose of the section Emergency Declaration Act of the term Emergency Declaration Act, Local Dale Emergency Declaration Act of the Emergency Declaration Act defined in section 950, paragraph 2 of the General Municipal Law of the State of New York, chapter 259, law of 1980, within its effect of the date of the enactment of this act of the private property within subsection A of the private property means all of the property which is not owned of the Department of Agency of the Instrumental United States of the State of New York and any public agency authority thereof. All right, Title 4, Pollution Insurance. The definition of the chief of insurance. The insurance means the primary insurance, the excess of the insurance, reinsurance, term plus lines insurance, any other arrangement shifting and distributing the risk of the insurance under applicable to rate law. Pollution liability. Pollution liability means liability insurance arising from the relief of the substance of the pollutants and contaminants. Risk retention group. The term risk retention means that any other corporation or other limited association, taxable corporation of the insurance company under the law of any of the state. And then we have whose primary activity consulting and consuming spreading all of the any of the portion liability group members with organized primary purpose of conducting activity described in subparagraph A with the chart of the license and insurance of the company authorized to engage in the business of insurance under laws of any of the state that does not exclude the person for the member of the shipping membership of the group is solely to provide for the members serve the group of the competitive advantage over the person purchasing group of the purchasing group of the group of the person with which have one of the purpose of the purchasing pollutant liability insurance for the group of the basis. State. The state means any state of the United States of the District of Columbia, Commonwealth, Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, the Virgin Islands, the Commonwealth of Northern Marinas, any other territorial possession over the United States having jurisdictional. State laws and scope of the title. State law is nothing in the title constructed after the effect of either the tort law of the law governing the interpretation of the insurance contracts of any state of definition, pollution liability insurance under any state of the law shall not be applied for the purpose of the title, including recognition and qualification risk retention group, the purchasing group scope of the authority to offer the provide insurance under the title of the little unlimited coverage of the pollution liability risk. Title does not authorize the risk retention group or the purchasing group to provide coverage over any other line of the insurance. Section 403 risk retention groups. Except for the provided section risk retention group shall be except for the following the state law of the rule of the order of the man who unlawfully regulate with directly and indirectly operate with the risk retention group. The state law of the rules order require the permits of risk retention group to participate in any insurance insolvents for the guarantee of the association and ensure the license to the state is required to belong. A state law rule order to require that the insurance policy issue the risk retention group, the any member of the group, the countersign with the insurance agent, broker, representing state law, rule, ordered, and otherwise discriminating agents, a risk retention group, and any of their members' exemptions. State law within general applicability. Nothing in this subsection shall be construed in effect with the substance to applicable to the state of the general applicable to the person resident of the corporation with which retention group is carried chartered, but then made regulated with the information operation with the group of state regulations on the exemption subject shall not apply with the state law with the required with the risk retention group to do any of the following: comply with the unfair claim with the settlement with the protection of the law of the state today on a discriminatory basis for the applicable premium and other tax of the levy the unadmitted insurance surplus line, insure the broker's policy over the under laws and states, participate non-discriminatory basis in any of the mechanisms established or authorized under law of the state of the equatable the employment of the among the insured with the pollution liability insurance law of the expense of the insured with the policy written through the mechanism submit with the appropriate authority with the report with the other information from the required license to ensure the under the laws of the state relating solely to pollution liability insurance law and expense since it's registered with to designate state insurance commissioner as an agent solely for the purpose of the receiving services of the legal documents and for the purpose or process. Furniture upon request of the commissioner accompanied with any of the financial reports submitted with risk retention of the group of the commissioner of the chartering licensing jurisdiction. G submitting examination state insurance of the commissioner of any of the shape of the group that is doing the business, determining the group of the financial condition, the group commissioner of the has the reason to believe the risk of the retention group is finally impaired with the condition. The commissioner of the jurisdiction of the group of the charter has not begun with has refused to initiate examination group. H. Comply with the lawful order issued in the delinquency proceeding commenced with the state insurance commissioner. They have the commissioner jurisdiction with the group charter that has failed with an issue with the proceeding after the notifying of the financial impairment. The under paragraph G. C. The application exemption specified in the subsection apply with the pollution liability insurance cover the provided with the risk of the retention group of the such group and any person a member of the such group of sale pollution liability insurance coverage for a risk retention group and a provision in insurance of the related the services of the management, services of the retention group, and any members of the group, agents and brokers. State may require the person with the acting with the offering, acting as an agent or broker of the risk retention group, obtaining the license for them in the state, except that the state may not be imposed with the qualification requirement, but the discriminating against non-resident agents or brokers. All right, section 404, purchasing groups. Except that it is provided in the section of purchasing group, except that the following the state law rule order with a prohibits establishing the purchasing group, the state law rule order which makes it unlawful for the insurer to provide or to offer to provide insurance on the basis of the providing of the purchase group of the member of the advantage of the base on their law, the expanse experience not afford with the other person with respect to the base, the policy forms coverage and other matters. A state law rule the other prohibits the purchasing group of its members of the purchasing insurance of the group of the basis described in paragraph 2 of the subsection state law rule. The other prohibits the purchasing group of the obtaining insurance of the group of the basis purchasing group that has not been in existence of the minimum of the period of time with any of the member to have not belonged with the group of the member minimum period of time. State law of the rule of the orders of the require the purchasing group that may have the minimum number of the members of the common ownership of the affiliation. Certain legal group, the state law regular other orders which require that a certain percentage of the purchasing group must obtain the insurance of the group basis of the state law rule order require that any of the insurance policy issued in the purchasing group that any of the members of the group of the countersigned by an insurance agent or broker residing in the state. A state law rule order which otherwise discriminates against the purchasing group at any as member of the application exemption specified in subsection A apply with the following: pollution liability insurance, comprehensive general liability insurance, which include the coverage provided with the purchasing group of any person who is a member of the purchasing group of the sale of any one of the following to the purchasing group of the member of the group. Alright, your pollution liability insurance, the general liability coverage insurance related service management service of the agents broker the state may require the person of the acting the offering the act of the agent broker of the person of the group to obtain the license for the state of the state may not impose any of the qualification requirement that discriminate against the non-resident agent broker the section 405 applicability security claims security law of the ownership applicability of security laws, ownership of the interest of the members of the risk retention group should be considered to be exempted security for the purpose of Section 5 of the Security Act of 1933 for the purpose of Section 12 of the Security Act, exact change of 1934, security purpose of the provision, Section 17 of the Security Act of 1933, provision Section 10 of the Security Exchange of 1934, investment company act with the risk retention group shall be not considered to make an investment company for the purpose of the investment company act of 1940, blue sky law of the ownership, the interest of the membership of the risk retention group should not be considered securities for purposes of any state blue sky law. And that was your total, that was the whole Comprehensive Environmental Response Compensation Liability Act 1980.